fine because we're talking about tech sales and customer-centric selling. What is the takedown methodology for this takedown video, which is really boosting you up, which is what Alex Hormozi would teach you if he did tech and sales. The funny component to this that's hilarious is that he is kind of 1 for 2, if not 0 for 2, which is Vanderbilt organizational behavior, Vanderbilt corporate strategy, and Accenture on the back end. Those three components scream marketing and corporate strategy consulting. You can't muscle your way from 0 to 1 without some core tech sales, especially if you've got a tech startup. So, take down PhD thesis number 1 of 14 is this. Inarguable, easy to defend, which is this. And hilarious. I mean, it checks all the boxes. You can't juxtapose the word marketing with selling. You cannot. You cannot have the silver bullet offer or the irresistible offer that people can't say no to. Now you're trying to silver bullet and try to bat 1,000. Guess who's the only person who's going to be able to bat 1,000? This guy with blonde billionaire females. Batting 1,000 is nearly impossible even with customer-centric selling. Why? Because of 4 pages inside of this book that are nowhere close to juxtaposing marketing and sales. Because what we're looking at is when you substitute paste copy the word marketing for sales, founders go bankrupt. You can't write the perfect advertisement, flush money down the toilet with ads, and then hope to magically generate an automatic sale. Is that harsh? Nope. It's just accurate because once you watch the Alex Hormozi content that is all about marketing, all about doing Accenture things, all about organizational behavior and corporate strategy, now we have a lens to use that content within the framework of tech selling, within the framework of OMG, tech sales and selling is super hard. And we can go from room to room where we paste copy content on Alan Watts. And he's got a great book, no doubt. The tech sales component of the book, is this: macro and micro. Whereas the book that you're talking about, Alan Watts, is macro philosophical. It's a terrific book, but so is organizational behavior, corporate strategy, and Accenture. Macro, which means large. I'm getting lost in the sauce. What we're doing here is we're going micro. Good morning. How are you? Which is this. When somebody talks about Alan Watts and the philosophy of being happy, this is how to be happy when you sell using tech sales techniques and you connect with the speaker who's dropping kind of a genius PhD thesis. Let me continue, which is micro. Because macro is organizational behavior, corporate strategy, Accenture. Half the time Accenture consultants are talking, I have no idea what they're talking about, and I'm an Accenture alum consultant. I'm a keynote speaker to Accenture. The reason that they're using jargon is they want to try to befuddle you, confuse you, to the point where you're like, I give up, I'll just pay you. I hope you have an amazing day too, and I hope that you can actually connect with what I'm talking, because you're mentioning the Lord. Jesus plopped you into this room so that way you could be blessed with money, and you better focus because this stuff, it's a blessing. We're going to go micro, micro, micro. In fact, I'm going to give you 4 pages that are going to bless your life. Why? Because you haven't read this book yet, and that's okay. I'm going to give you 4 pages: 5, 50, 55, and 65. We're getting incredibly micro. Micro with not organizational behavior, personal behavior, where we're going to integrate winning at entrepreneurship by doing some small things gritty, doing small things specific, by doing the tech sales component of selling towards 20 prospects. You're not going to do marketing from behind a screen the way that this is happening behind a screen during Sunrise videos. We're not going to do that. What we are going to do is win at entrepreneurship because we're getting incredibly specific, and we're not just dropping crypto spam messages in the feed. Because put a pin in that, this is how to do tech sales to 3 people to try to sell 3 people, which is this. You're the one dropping crypto, and I'll even read it. Hey, Web3 crypto is free, digital gold, research and adopt early, it's free, America's most blah, blah, blah. Okay. Yeah, that's actually semi-false. This is what's actually true. Working with the spam comments, which is tech sales. Dealing with trolls during my comedy, which is this. 3 people who are actually almost as retarded as some of the comments. Adam Aaron, Ryan Cohen, Michael Saylor. Retard, retard, retard. I can say this because Saylor and Ryan Cohen, CEO of Strategy, now chairman of Strategy, because Feng Li is now the CEO of the company formerly known as MicroStrategy. Ryan Cohen, he adopted Bitcoin. Why? Because somebody tech sold him on no longer being a pleb retard. Now he's a pleb doing a 0 coupon bond, no recourse on a financial offering. Not financial advice. This is financial advice. Pay attention to tech sales because we can win. Point number 2 recapped. Micro, micro, micro is the solution to macro, macro, macro problem. You can't macro your way out of problems going from 0 to 2 customers. You can't macro your way out of it. You can't strategy your way out of it. You have to micro, 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 which is sell towards 20 prospects. Sell to customers. Remember, you're selling something incredibly technical because the pages that this book talks about, page 5, page 50, page 55, and page 65, all go towards the fact that you're selling something that's semi-innovative. And when we sell something that's innovative, now we have a shot at trying to cross the chasm. And when we're dropping spam messages on crypto, what we're missing is the fact that that's what you're trying to do here is you're trying to do marketing. Whereas what I'm trying to do is this next point, which is incorporating education into the sales process. You're making me jump ahead to do this book prematurely, but that's okay. Look at the marketing that's attempted in the spam feed, in the comments. That's marketing. What I'm doing is mentoring via tech sales on, hey, would you like some free education when it comes to tech sales? Because what you're trying to do is you're trying to do marketing. You're trying to market with spam messages to do distribution. Is that also what YC does? Yeah. Whereas when you say distribution, YC throws up the spam. I know I'm a little harsh, but I'm just accurate. And this is not black or white person trash talk. This is Chinese person trash talk, which is I studied all night during my sleep and I became sentient in bullet pointing. Bullet point number 3, which is tech sales problem. Going from 0 to $100 million is actually semi inaccurate. It's actually semi inaccurate because do you really go from 0 to $100 million using one book? Nope, you really don't. And so that's the entrepreneurship component of getting not macro, but micro. Thank you for plugging Stanford Engineering Web 3. That was literally 14 years ago at Stanford. What we're doing now is we're doing Web 4 while I'm explaining to you that the 3 retards are finally involved in Web 5. Who are the 3 retards? Pay attention, kids, because it's Michael Saylor, Ryan Cohen, and Adam Aaron. Currently, I'm batting 667 with getting retards who used to not believe in Web 5 now doing Web 5. Michael Saylor, Chairman Strategy, formerly known as MicroStrategy, now Feng Li, who's the CEO, and a friend. Ryan Cohen, now Web 5. Can you pay attention to what we're doing? Exactly. Stop yapping about how to become a millionaire when you're not going to become a millionaire, buddy. Exactly. This is exactly what you don't want to do, which is you don't want to yap when I'm literally dropping knowledge bombs so that way we can go from $0 to 600K. Exactly. We're talking right now about Web 4. And Web 4 is a countermeasure to marketing spam comments and marketing your Web 3 Stanford University stuff, which is actually almost 2 decades old. If you're 4 years old, that's cool because find your parent and say, hey, as a 9-year old, I'm going to be better than all my other cohorts, COPPA compliant. Don't be texting me, Child Online Privacy Protection Act, engage, which is these page numbers within customer centric book, which is point number 3, 0 to centicorn. Oh, I don't want other people to be a millionaire. Yeah? Well, 0.6 million turns out to be a millionaire because we're going from 0 to centicorn. What's a centicorn? It's a tenth of a unicorn. Is this VC parlance? Did I just make that up? It sort of is, but let's just define it to be what it is. A unicorn is a billion, a centicorn is $100 million. Which is winning at 0 to centicorn. Yes, I do read the spam comments, and that's cool that you and your buddy are trying to hijack the comments, but the comments that are marketing actually power this because I don't need you to sub. What I would like to do is gin out point number 3, 0 to centicorn. 0 to centicorn because the problem is, oh my God, thank goodness I have large student athlete hands. 0 to centicorn is tough. Why is it tough? 0 to centicorn is tough because there is a gap in going from $0 to 600K. Because at the 0 to 1 level, it's easier to talk about the money that's $400 million to $2 billion. Let me repeat that. $0 to 600K, incredibly painful. Incredibly painful, where the VC will just be like, oh, too early. Too early meaning their brain isn't smart enough to mentor you on how to leave $0. That's what they're saying when they're saying too early. This is also the hole in the Accenture, Vanderbilt, macro. Is it Peter Thiel? Mm-hmm. Is it every VC that wants you to be a billionaire or and have a $1 billion unicorn? Mm-hmm. Is this also Alex Hormozi? And are we on bullet point number 3 of 21? We kind of are, which is why we're paying attention and we're study buddying technical sales, tech sales, higher levels using these 3 books. I'm just going to go ahead and hold these 3 books as a triumvirate to the playlist of what we're doing with tech sales, higher levels. Number 3, 0 to Centicorn. Guilty, guilty, guilty. Why so? Because million, billion, and unicorn and centicorn are words that are demoralizing. Look at how demoralized you guys are in the feed. Bro, stop showing the book. I don't think we even know what that book is. Look, this is the first time you've watched a YouTube video where you've been actively angry because the money is just sitting there waiting for you to grovel and pick up the first arbitrage, which is the first time you spent $8 on a used book and then fixed your broken brain to be like, hey, maybe I can read this $8 used book, which is what this book cost at a thrift store, $8. Literally, 3 dudes poured their life into this. Bosworth, Holland, and Vegetis. Sounds like vagina-is, but you know what? No judgments. I'm partially Greek, so I can make fun of them. You're taking 4 pages of that book that is currently less than $20, and you're reading that book thinking to yourself, what if I did tech sales? Then I would be one of the first women that would do tech sales and then become a VC. And if being a VC as a woman makes you jealous of prior women that listened to technical sales advice, then we are now on the same page, moving from 0 to centicorn, 0 to unicorn. Step 1, $0.6 million. That's step 1. Whereas step 1A is trying to make $600 using the book Customer Centric Selling and the Challenger Sale. I'm challenging you to go to your library and rent this book because it feels like you're so demoralized about owning another book that you haven't read that you're going to pop your Biblioteca cherry. What's Biblioteca? Biblioteca is winning at entrepreneurship, which is what? A library card. And you might think that you don't care, but I get the feeling that there's a tickle in your brain to be like, ooh, I should go to this library. I should go to this library because guess what? Magical things happen with the Challenger Sale. Are we winning at Matthew Dixon and Brent Adamson's book? Kind of, because chapters 4 and 5 are mentorship, which feels like this is tickling your brain a little bit, right? I can feel it. And then chapter 6 is about winning at the frame, and chapter 7 is about exercising control. And so we're able to go from 0 to centicorn, which is bullet point number 4, which is missing from the Alex Hormozi marketing behind a screen, which is person-to-person cold outreach. What you're feeling right now is you're feeling the warmth of a cold call because you stepped into this cold call situation and you're like, oh my God, I can't believe that some of this stuff is actually applicable because it's been tickling my mind. How many times do you go from video to video thinking, oh, I just want my brain stimulated and I want my next endorphin rush. I want to be able to positively or negatively impact the speaker. I just want to have some impact. And that's where we get to march forward with, oh, I used to like this, now I don't like it. And that's okay because we're not about likes or subscribers. We're about forging ahead with person to person cold outreach, going from failure to failure with great enthusiasm. Now, you've landed on this video. Have you thought about maybe not going video to video, failure to failure, where you decide at this moment, maybe I can take this video from this Chinese cowboy who seems to know his content pretty well and then able to win at entrepreneurship. Why? Which is being able to deal with not negativity, but our brain's entropy. Are we delving into the 3 laws of thermodynamics? We are not, but that's also me kind of showing off that Alex Hormozi studied organizational behavior and corporate strategy and falls a little short with the 3 laws of thermodynamics. Tailor. That's what we're doing, is we're tailoring this message person to person cold outreach. Is this also Jessica Livingston's book? Oh, do I intimidate you with the books that are being presented? A little bit. Why? Because what they used to kind of teach but forget to teach at YC is that founders initially should focus on selling, not marketing. That's founders at work, which is bullet point number 4. Bullet point number 5, IRL, in real life, tech sales. IRL, conferences and marketing. In the true gospel of Jesus, he said that you are the Son of God, mankind, to love all people regardless of race, religion, and security. So remember, you pray to Jesus and you pray, hey, I wish I could do better financially. And then you're going to be dropping Jesus spam where God put this video before you so that way you could win at life, which is IRL tech sales at industry conferences. Do you like how I take the troll comments and I just power right into helping you go from not caring to caring just un poco, which is Spanish for a little bit? Because IRL tech conferences and industry conferences is what we're going to talk about with the founders at work doing distribution work. Is distribution work one of the things that are skipped over at Y Combinator? It sure is, specifically the distribution work of tech sales. Why are people not wanting to do IRL conferences in real life? Why? Because behind a screen, you can scream at things and advocate things and just scream into the void. What we're doing here is we're doing tech sales towards people that could tell us 2 things, which is, I have no need for your product and I definitively don't trust it. Oh, page 175. I definitively don't like what you're saying, and I don't trust it. This is page 175. This is bullet point number 4, which is, why won't you try tech sales in person? And so John McMahon talks about how there's no need and no trust. Is this also the hole in the Alex Hormozi marketing content where he's not even talking about tech sales? Yes. Because when you go to a conference and you meet people who are prospects, and those prospects are like, no, I don't want this. In the same way that prior, there were how many people trying to jack the comments? Kind of a lot. That's because in the comments, they were thinking, I don't need this and I don't trust you. And that's where we get to attempt to battle no need, no trust with page 175, chapter 31 of The Sales Leader. Winning via John Connolly's book, which is then transitioning to eccentric coaches scale. So when you're being coached on scale, that's macro. Remember, point number 2 was macro, macro, macro. So when a consulting firm known as Accenture is trying to tell you to do things at scale, now you hear, hey, this is macro advice. This is big world, big advice. And if we've learned anything from this video, it's start small, keep it all. Start small, risk zero. That's micro. That's between your ears. So we're not going to scale and worry prematurely about scale when we're trying to go from $0 to $600,000. The solution to that is we're going to do things that are street smart. Remember, my channel is called What They Don't Teach You in School. And what they do teach you at Stanford University, 2009 through 2013, is do things that don't scale but have momentum. Let me repeat that because it's a Paul Graham essay that I improved upon in the same way that I'm editing other turds such as Michael Saylor, Ryan Cohen, Adam Aaron. CEO, CEO, CEO. Micro, 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 because their consulting shops were like, hey, why don't you guys just go bankrupt and then we'll do an ABC that's complex. No, 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 no. We're ducking bankruptcy as you're ducking bankruptcy via doing things that don't scale. When a startup goes bankrupt, they don't do a chapter 11, chapter 7 reorg because there's nothing to reorg. The founders just pretend like they never started the business. That's a startup going bankrupt. What we're doing is we're doing things that don't scale but have momentum. Do you love how the structure is so clear? Because we don't want to scale. I mean, we do, but we don't want to prematurely scale. When you think premature scale, you're going to scale up and freeze up and not start, and then you're going to end up quitting your startup. We don't want to do that. We want to win. We want to win doing things that don't scale, Paul Graham essay, but have momentum. We want to do things that don't scale, but have momentum. Is this a hashtag that I'm giving to you for free, even though I could easily charge you $700? Yes, because I don't want to go through that sales process. Here it is for free. Hashtag DTTDSBHM. It's the initials, it's the acronym for do things that don't scale, but have momentum. If we have not connected before, hi, I'm Larry Chiang, and I collect things on what they don't teach you in school. This video is what they don't teach you in the Alex Hormozi universe of going from 0 to $100 million. Is this a PhD thesis in doing a takedown of Vanderbilt University, who doesn't need to defend himself, but needs to address the fact that students are going bankrupt? Did I read the book Gym Launch and then add 7 chapters? Yes, 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 yes. And so we can be snarky with, oh, I teach something similar, or you can use your 160 IQ to win at going from 0 to 600K, because you could be sarcastic, or you can join a person who's winning an entrepreneurship with half of your IQ and triple your athletic ability. So that's a choice that you can make. That's your paradigm shift. Oh my God, this is spot on. Accenture coaches scale. What I'm coaching you as a person with a fifth of your IQ. Why? Because I'm operating at an IQ of 488 and I'm setting aside 400 of those IQ points to beat you with 88 points of my IQ. Basically 400 points of my IQ tied behind my back. And that's what we're winning. Okay, so say you're not being sarcastic. Hi, Larry. I teach what they're suppressed for 2,000 years. Nice to meet you. So what you're trying to do is you're trying to jack in the Jesus content. And I prayed about this often, which is why won't you just take the blessing of financial comfort, which is sell something non-technical such as CS Major CEO. This schedule, this agenda is perfectly right on track. Why? Because Jim Launching Pad is just like the richest man in Babylon selling lemonade. Whereas you're trying to jack the conversation away from, which is very Luciferian, which is where this information is a blessing and you're trying to use dark art. Why? To distract, even though you think, oh, if I just sold Christian content in a setting, what you're doing is something actually dark, which is you're trying to put darkness over a very difficult topic, which is tech sales. Technical sales is incredibly difficult. It's incredibly specific. Why? Because selling is hard and technology is hard. And so when you're trying to then distract people from learning about bullet point number 7, which is sell something non-technical as a CS major CRO. I'm going to ask you if you're a CS major, but then that would be almost like a personal attack because now I'm asking questions of the audience. So let's just gloss over the fact that you might not be an engineer trying to do tech sales, in which case I would listen triply hard because I would then listen triply hard. Perfect. Perfect. So then you should still be able to focus. Why? Because you've got the CS major component down, which I believe that the community college has a program in computer science and that you're one class in. Congratulations. What about the CRO component of it, which is Chief Revenue Officer? Because when we're not able to process computer science like language, which is what this is, which is selling things that are technical. Because when we study computer science, what are we doing half the time? We're Googling swaths of code and using AI to vibe code. Or are you not vibe coding? When was the last time you shipped product as a computer science major? Paradigm shift. Well, answer that at your leisure. Let's proceed forward. Sell something not technical. So as CS major to CS major, we can sell something technical, but that's incredibly difficult. Why? Because of 4 pages of customer-centric selling that talk about crossing the chasm and how crossing the chasm by Jeffrey Moore is incredibly difficult. Pages 5, page 50, page 55, and page 65. Screenshot at your leisure, page 5, page 50, page 55, page 65. Conveniently, right? Super convenient. We're going to actually sell something not technical. By the way, there's a question for you. You're still on deck, which is the question that I asked you previously. I know you remember it. You can just pretend like I didn't ask it. When was the last time you shipped something? What is your GitHub? Still a question for you, which is sell something non-technical. No, when was the last time you shipped something that was computer science related. Remember, you said you're a CS major. Not when was the last time you sold something? When was the last time you coded something? Do you use AI to vibe code? Okay. Now we're having a conversation, and then now it feels like we're connecting for the first time, which is sell something non-technical. It's okay if you haven't, because most people haven't sold anything and their title is tech sales. So don't let that question intimidate you, because if you can sell two, you will be a millionaire. And I hate even using that word, because that word demoralizes people. Let's make that word less demoralizing, because let's get micro, micro, micro. So how many seconds is a million seconds? So let's say you picked up $1 every second. How many seconds, how many days would it take to pull $1 million at 1 per second? Oh my God, perfect. That's perfect. Then you should be in tune with all the things that I'm putting down, or you're a fraud because you're battling against the truth of how you went from 0 to 1 million, that you don't want the truth to come out, and you're claiming that you're talking about Christian stuff. So like, this is the disconnect. I'm now crawling between your ears, reading you so well that exactly. So why don't we connect? And now the comments, I'm paying incredibly close attention to you now, because I'm not necessarily calling BS, but your comments up till now don't exactly match. So you might just flutter off and do video number next, but I'm paying close attention to you because my brain is now on with sell something non-technical. Exactly. Which is, will you sell two? In the same way that Paradigm Shift sold some Magic the Gathering cards, what we're doing selling Dungeons and Dragons characters, selling pre-coded modules, selling yourself to me, because when now you're selling yourself to me, instead of connecting with the prior information that I dropped, is a telltale signal of interrogation falling apart, which is just connect with the content that you're being given, so that way you can level up from millionaire polymath to centacorn. Because when you're selling me on the fact that you're smart in computer science, I'm starting to now doubt the fact that you've been able to process points number 1 through 6. And if you're just joining us, let's quickly recap points number 1 through 6, so that way you can win at tech sales. 1, juxtaposing marketing and sales. Alex Hormozi tends to swap those two words as business words. Ouchie, ouchie, that's not good. That's point 1. Point 2, macro, 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 bad, 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 which is organizational behavior, macro, corporate strategy, macro, Accenture, the consulting firm, macro, macro. Those things are meant to just extract money from rich people. What we're doing as people at zero is we're doing micro, 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 which is sell 20 prospects, try to sell 2, attempt to do tech sales at the 0 level. Number 3, 0 to centacorn. What? Why is the problem of all of money is $40 million to $2 billion? Why is all of entrepreneurship content and startup content at the $40 million level to the $2 billion level? Bad, 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 bad. Why? Because at $1,040,000, who cares? Like, you're just in flow state, and oh my God, crazy stuff. Like, I did a deal on a jet in Coach. Normally I don't ride Coach. Oh, crazy story, crazy story, crazy story. Those aren't crazy stories. Those are not helpful stories, and I don't like stories. I like protocols. I'm a CS major. Person-to-person cold outreach. Why don't you try to sell 2? Why don't you try to sell one? And that's the point number 4. Point number 5, Y Combinator, Founders at Work. Jessica Livingston's book, Founders at Work, talks about winning at being a startup by focusing on selling skills and not sales skills. Exactly. Exactly. So the disconnect from the prior content and you selling me on your pretty bold statements makes me kind of question whether or not some of the things that you said were true, and I think you're kind of proving it. Prove it to me that you can pay attention to IRL tech sales, which is number 5 in real life tech sales at conferences. Scale. Consulting services, consulting firms doing macro consulting, recommending that you, the founder, who's got no employees or 3 part-time employees in you, or you, a part-time co-founder who are currently 1 foot into your entrepreneurship gig, doing things that scale. You're going to initially do things that don't scale. And that's the scaling component. Now we're finally connecting with your 35th comment, which is, I got you. We used to sell at the Blue Star Tech Show across the country. Now we're finally connecting with IRL tech sales at industry conferences. Number 5, sell something non-technical. So in the same way that paradigm shift is now selling something technical, the first thing that he sold was something non-technical. That's what I'm recommending that you guys do for your first start in doing tech sales. And did we just become best friends? Oh yeah, because you can see that I know this tech sales content better than CS majors and better than CROs, right? Now we're friends because this is the CRO who did MongoDB. MongoDB, my friend Rolf Botha invested in it. John McMahon has been CRO, VP of Sales, at 5 companies. And now we are on the same page because we're going to start on a journey. CS major, CRO. That's what we're doing. Bullet point number 8, startup death spiral. When we as co-founders delegate sales and selling to a VP of sales, we're unknowingly entering startup death spiral. Why? Because we're delegating the task that we should be doing. The task we should be doing as co-founder and technical co-founder is sales CRO work at the $0 level. We can't scale our way over 2 million, 2 billion by delegating selling to a VP of sales without an engineering degree, or even with an engineering degree if they're not a co-founder, or they're now a co-founder, because this is the dynamic. You're trying to cross the innovation chasm, and 4 pages are going to kill you with the fact that you don't do sales and you don't do tech. 4 pages are going to absolutely kill you dead. I think I've already outlined the 4 pages. Go back in the video because I'm not going to say it a 7th time. Acing the Alex Hormozi 2-sided marketplace. Ooh, this is actually a good one. You initially thought that I was not an Alex Hormozi fan because I'm showing the gaping holes in his portfolio of content, which is quite genius. It's just got some holes where he loves services businesses and he loves high ticket sales, aka workshops. This is the genius component of sales that he actually does via gym launch, but does not explain. I would grab a pen because there's about to be some magical shiitake spinning out. What Alex does genius is he sells upstream and downstream. What I mean by that is he's selling downstream to fat people that no longer want to be fat and are willing to pay $500 or $1,000 to no longer be fat. That's genius stuff, but what he's also doing is he's selling upstream to gym owners to say, would you like to buy $20,000 worth of consulting to turn around your gym business? So that's incredibly astute Jedi sales strategy, which is selling upstream, selling downstream, upstream to the gym owners, and then selling a $75 book with a straight face and saying, hey, would you like the $75 book that becomes a $20,000 revenue generator for the company known as Alex Hormozi and Layla? Yes. Would you like to sell fat people on no longer being fat so that way they can look semi-hot for their 10-year, 20-year high school reunion? That is some Jedi stuff, which is the two-sided marketplace, upstream and downstream. It solves the chicken or egg component. Next component, we have the right to repair some of this Alex Hormozi content, which coincidentally is also the Peter Thiel content, is also the Sam Altman content, which is why won't people help people go from $0 to 600K? So we have a right to repair, and that's why the other right to repair, which is how I stumbled upon all this stuff, which is hashtag 23 days of open AI at South by Southwest. It's a right to repair the shitty 12 days of OpenAI in December. This is the 23 days of OpenAI at South by Southwest. This is day 23, as I asked Grok 3, hey, give me the content between Alex Hormozi content. Give me the Alex Hormozi content between $0 and 600K. And Grok 3 dropped 3 genius things that I wrote about in a Duck9 blog post, which you can look up. I won't be reading you that blog post. But that was day 23. I have a right to repair shiitake that's broken. That's why the McDonald's ice cream machine is always broken, because they're trying to exercise authority and control over speakers, over McDonald's people who speak out. Is this also chapter 7, exerting control? Yes. Is my utilization of books, specifically large account management processes via the Miller-Hyman method of tech sales, incredibly useful? I think so. We have a right to repair, and what we're also potentially going to do, if you're into it, is we have the right to repair Alex Hormozi's book, Gym Launch, by repairing it to a new version that has 7 additional chapters, which is basically a brand new book, which is Gym Launching Pad. I've already outlined those in a Duck9 blog post. Deeply understood capital knowledge. 0 to National Account Manager. Oh my God. This flows perfectly, because this is what you're needing to do as a tech founder, is you need to be a national account manager even though you skipped SDR and AE. So you need to hire an SDR, you need to hire an AE, you need to hire a VP of sales, you need to hire a national account manager. Guess what? You're going to need to do all 4 jobs. That's the kicker of forward deployed engineer. Am I showing off right now, telling you that I'm Peter Thiel's mentor? Yeah, because he took Mark McCormack's customer service from inside of their office to be the forward deployed engineer, because we want to do AE work, account executive work, on the premises of our customer. That's the forward deployed engineer. That's tech sales. That's based on Miller-Hyman consultative selling, which is large account management processes. This is 0 to national account manager, skipping SDR and AE. What do I mean by skipping? Because we as a co-founder and technical co-founder, We are forced to do national account manager work. We're absolutely forced to do it. If you don't see it, I've already cited a mountain of evidence, but since you're making me cite page numbers, page 5, page 50, page 55, page 65. You're forced to be a national account manager when your SDR skills are not up to snuff. Are your AE skills very high? No. This is where the Alex Hormozi universe comes to a grinding halt, because where is the content to go from zero to national account manager? Well, that's what this video and Jim Launching Pad, which is also chapter 69 of Snowball. Is this winning at entrepreneurship? Fudge, yes, it is. Mentorship within no need, no trust after going zero to national account manager. Is that page 175 that I previously cited? Yes, yes, yes. Mentorship in the tech sales prospecting. Is this Challenger Sale, chapters 4 and 5, whereas Taylor is chapter 6, and then exerting control over the sales process is chapter 7? Yes. Freemium. Are you going to do stuff that's free? No, no, no. We're not doing stuff that's free. We're doing the Mark McCormack reverse rebate model. Kind of like where I'm like, hey, Devin, why don't we do a live event at ACL? It's $500, but if you actually show up, I'll give you your $500 investment back. What? I can't believe that deal. That's amazing. Solving the black pitfall and gold hole that Vanderbilt OB corporate strategy. Let me repeat that because I muffed it up a little bit. Solving the black pitfall and gold hole Vanderbilt organizational behavior corporate strategy. The black hole is points number juxtaposing marketing all the way to point number 15. That's the black hole within Alex Hormozi. Did we solve it via this video? I think we did. And what we're unknowingly doing is chapter 65, which is Snowball and Launchpad. Because what we're doing with Snowball and Launchpad is we're jettisoning from no tech and no sales into tech and sales. Did I just quote 20 lectures of Stephen Blank's book, Stephen Blank's Columbia University content inside the engineering school that is so close to saying tech sales with Larry Chiang, but not quite? And that's okay. Do you know why? Because we solved Steve Blank's engineering 245 class at Columbia. We solved it also using this video. Thank you for coming to the Larry Chiang Show and doing tech sales, and thank you for adopting stuff that is actually 7,000 years old.